All right, guys, for today's content, we're going to hit on a sports topic that is niche accurate for the things that we go over on my platform. But apologies, though, I'm a little bit late in talking about this. I don't really follow sports like that. So by the time that I see this stuff, it's already a little bit old. But nevertheless, we must get active on the conversation, all right? Because this is a conversation that we all need to hear, that we all need to be reminded of how many men have built empires for themselves, for their families, only to have them fall and waste it all because of their inability for eggplant discipline. And it's one of the most important things that as men, we have to develop within our society today. Now, today's video comes from our brother, O'Shea Duke Jackson, who gives us yet another prime example, as well as a bunch of different reminders of the importance of what happens if you do not develop this muscle, this skill. The more that you gain, the more careful that you have to be. You have to move with purpose and with reason, not with emotion and on impulse. Let's get active on this conversation without further ado.
On September 22nd, 2022, Ime Udoka was suspended by the Boston Celtics for the entire 2022-2023 NBA season after violating team policies. Now, it's important to know the year right before this, he took his team to the NBA Finals, and at the time, he was one of the most popular coaches in the league. But as you know, he got fired. He would eventually get hired by the Houston Rockets, and he would actually address these claims.
As you reflect on what happened in Boston, do you feel like the Celtics were justified in the actions that they took against you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my part in it was to take ownership and accountability for my part. You know, they had a choice to make a decision, and they went that route. And my thing was own up to it, take responsibility, and you know, I served the suspension and had to own it, honestly. So, same thing I'll preach to the guys. I can't sit here and not take accountability myself. So, it was their right to go about it however they wanted to, and that's the choice they took.
Later on in 2023, another black coach by the name of Mel Tucker, who was on a 10-year, $95 million contract with the Michigan State Spartans. Well,
Michigan State fired head coach Mel Tucker today for inappropriate conduct. Tucker was accused of sexual harassment during a phone call with a prominent driver and activist that he had hired to speak to his team. The university terminating what's left of the 10-year, $95 million contract that Tucker signed less than 2 years ago.
Now, in the Ime Udoka case, he lost his job over sleeping with a white woman, despite being married to Nia Long. And Mel Tucker, who has a black wife, stop the show. She actually filed for divorce. He lost his job behind a white lady. And you would think that black men would get the hint, right? Sharon Moore, a young brother from Kansas who was an offensive lineman, went to the University of Oklahoma, and he worked his way up through the coaching ranks. He coached tight ends at Central Michigan. He then moved to Michigan, became the offensive line and co-offensive coordinator, became the offensive coordinator. He would be an important reason as to why Michigan would win their national title in 2024. Once Jim Harbaugh went back to the NFL with the LA Chargers, Sharon Moore would get an opportunity to become the head coach. But it was not without consequence.
They were going to get rid of him whether he had success or not. But the moment that they started losing games, Dave Portnoy and the Michigan Donors were going to run him out of town. Sharon Moore now is coming off of a loss to Oklahoma. He has to sit out for 2 weeks while he serves a suspension on behalf of Jim Harbaugh. And Michigan's going to lose 2 more games because they're not even able to practice, speak to, or talk to the head coach of the football team.
See, here is something that we got to understand. Sharon Moore and Harbaugh, they were in some kind of scandal with hand-stealing gestures from other teams. And it was a big deal. Sharon Moore served some suspensions. Jim Harbaugh served some suspensions. And Harbaugh was kind of under like a 10-year suspension where like any team in college football that hired him, it would be difficult for them to do it. Mel Tucker's under the same situation right now. So Harbaugh just, for the most part, couldn't stay in college football. And so Sharon Moore was kind of that last tree that was kind of looming from the Harbaugh regime, right? And so people thought that he was going to lose his job anyway, but really that wasn't the case. I mean, he had the rebuild team. He went 8-5 in Michigan 2024. This year he's 7-3. They lost to Ohio State, but it was competitive, and they have a young team. So, I mean, I think he's performing pretty good. He's 16-8 as a head coach at Michigan. But then there was a rumor that was coming out earlier this month.
He has a type. He has a type.
That's part of the reporting. That's his type. I'm sorry, but it's when I'm up to my fifth woman I've talked to, and they're all between the ages of 25 to 38, 39, and they're all skinny, blonde, white women. He has a type, and that he's allowed to have a type, but it's certainly unbecoming to be trying to meet up for dinner with various.
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah. Have I said too much?
No. Oh no!
Well, let's just say I've
sloppy.
seen some of these exchanges personally, and
I think you're channeling your inside voice now, Justin. I think that's what's going on.
Well, I can be a little more informal here, but and it's funny because and this is one of the callbacks I'm waiting on. It could be any minute, it could be an hour, I don't know.
This is
Michigan
wild.
they're well aware. Ward Manuel has had multiple conversations with his team up there, athletic director at University of Michigan today. They're very aware of what's going on. They've known what's going on for years with this guy, that's part of the reporting. If you've known about this stuff, why is this guy even here?
That rumor.
You got to think about how crazy it is, or how sloppy that you're moving around as a married man. You can see his ring right there. As a married man, having other people on a podcast talking about your sexual improprieties, the type of women that he likes to date, knowing that how you conduct yourself within your marriage is a standard. It's a professional standard and an expectation of anyone that is holding this position, getting paid this amount of money. Quick emergency meeting. I was recently searching for my name online and found way too much personal information, which brought me down this weird rabbit hole of how that could have happened, and found out that there's companies out there called data brokers that will sell your data to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And it's a nasty, disgusting feeling knowing that there's bad actors out there selling my information, selling your information for profit. But that's why I'm recommending today's sponsor, Aura. Now, I use Aura to automatically remove my information from these sites and keep my information off. But they do other things as well, such as bank fraud and identity theft alerts, VPN access. But guys, utilize my link down in the description box down below for a 14-day trial. At least see if you've been compromised. Privacy is king in this day and age, and you should know if your information is out there. So again, utilize my link, aura.com/MTR, in the description box down below to try 2 weeks free. That's way more than enough time to see if your personal data has been exposed. Go now.
Would actually be true. Come to find out, your boy Sharon Moore had been sleeping, or at least trying to date, multiple white women, around U of M. And the most important one is this lady, Paige Shiver. Okay. Paige Shiver joined the University of Michigan program in November 2021. She was working as an on-campus recruiting and football operations coordinator on then Jim Harbaugh's staff. All right. She was then promoted to her current role as executive to the head coach in February 2024, shortly after Sharon Moore took over the University of Michigan program. This is important to know. Sharon Moore is married to a white woman by the name of Kelly Moore. They have been married since 2015. So yes, he was married. All right. Now, in the case of the other guys, Mel Tucker and Ime Udoka, both of them were in relationships with black women. But in the case of Sharon Moore, he already had a wife, a white wife. And that's why the last clip said he has his preferences. Well, allegedly, he got this lady pregnant, Paige Shiver. They found out that he was sleeping with her. And then guess what? They fired him. Now, after he was fired, allegedly, he broke into that lady's house and there was some other stuff. I'm not even going to deal with that. I'm not even concerned with it, all right? That's for another day. That's not my point of the video. The idea is this man was getting paid $6.1 million a year. The rest of his contract is now voided. He's going to lose that money. Let's look at the reasons that a University of Michigan coach could lose their employment. The university has the right to terminate the employment of the head coach
Moving
cause
sloppy.
in the event of any of the following. 1, failure of the head coach in material respect to perform the services required of him under this agreement. Conviction of the head coach of any criminal offense involving fraud, conviction of any felony, which he didn't do, all right? Conduct of the head coach which offends against public decency or morality as shall be determined by standards prevailing in the community or which results in the reasonable determination of the university to result in material injury to the reputation, interests, or obligations of the university or program. Misconduct as defined in sections 1 and 2A of University of Michigan standard practice. All right. When you go to C, him messing with Paige, the staffer, this is public decency or morality. All right. So this does create material injury to the reputation or the interests or obligations of the university of the program. All right. Now, I know some people are going to talk about this and say that this is racist. This is what it is. Well, to be honest,
it's not.
A lot of coaches have faced this. Bobby Petrino, for example, Arkansas faced this same thing in 2012 when he was doing really well at Arkansas and just messed up his career. But what black men, and I keep seeing this, a lot of black men that get into these situations, number one, they have to be excellent to get them, all right? To get into University of Michigan, Michigan State as the head coach, as an African-American or Black American head coach, you have to be elite, all right? Now, once you get to where you're at, you have to show restraint, okay? Because
look at him looking away.
Little reason will get you out of there. I don't know why the guy felt that because he was the offensive coordinator of the national championship winning team, he had some luxury. No, he's not.
Okay.
All right. He's done. He's 39. You crashed out here. You got locked up after you got fired. So what are the opportunities for a young guy like this? Almost none. Okay. You would need.
Listen, no matter what race that you are, achieving this type of position with these types of millions of dollars behind it, you have to be talented consistently over a long period of time. This brother suffers from the Shannon Sharp syndrome. He likes them young and he likes them areolas pink, baby. But it's so much worse here because he's got children. He's got 3 children. He's married. You already have a family, my guy. And now not only did you lose your position, but you are also going to lose your family. You may not be able to see your kids as much as what you see right now. And was it worth it? And accusations that you were at this chick's door and the police were called. And mind you, they also had her salary over the last several years, and she got bumped up from like $50,000 a year to $90,000 a year. So not only is it common knowledge that you're stepping outside of your marriage, but also you were increasing suspicion by raising the salary of the young chick that you're porking. This goes outside of lack of discipline, and this is outright disrespect, full disrespect.
To go to a smaller school. I mean, he'll probably get hired if all of this can go away eventually. He's an offensive line coach. He probably has a recruiting pipeline. He'll probably become, some level of an offensive coach, offensive line coach. He'll have to have an extremely good pipeline. Maybe some school like Middle Tennessee State would take a shot at him. Maybe an HBCU, which you probably won't do that. Some school in the MAC, Ball State, Toledo. Then he'd have to win and do exceptionally good there. If he could win and do exceptionally good there, he would then get a chance to come back to like a Power 5 program, Big Ten school in the SEC, but he would have to
but his
do
prestige is done.
well. But why would you have to do that when you've already messed up your opportunity? Like, what is it about certain black men not understanding leadership? Just because you're making $6 million a year, guess what? You don't own the team. All right? If you're going to do stuff like that, I hate to say this is going to be controversial. You shouldn't do it anyway. And note that I said you shouldn't do it anyway, but you need to be Diddy. You need to own what you got. Okay? If you're going to act a fool, you need to own the business. You need to be so powerful that you can make a Ciroc sale. You cannot work for people in white environment and do stuff like this and think that they're not going to catch you. When you're a black man, you have less opportunity to make mistakes. I really wish
it's not about a white environment. It's just a professional environment. If he was doing the same thing at a HBCU and was getting paid this amount of money, or even if it was like half the amount of money, right? Now he was making $500,000 to $600,000 a month. But let's say he was at a HBCU making, I don't know, $60,000 per month, 90% less. And if it came out that he was doing this and his name was big enough that it would be involved in some type of news reporting to the effect of it impacting the reputation of the university, then the same thing would have happened, irrespective of the girl being a white girl. But yeah, he's never going to have the same prestige that he once had. He will not make as much money as what he had coming to him. That chapter is completely gone. And that's why I always tell all my G's that are down into the building, building your empire must come with protecting your empire by any means necessary. It takes discipline, it takes planning, it takes strategic movement, not willy-nilly, right? Like, don't even put yourself into the position of being next to a girl that you find very attractive. When it comes to these professional environments, I'll be honest, like if it was me and if I was deciding on two hires that are women that are exactly the same skill set wise, resumes wise, and then one looked like a 10 and the other one looked like a solid 3, I'm gonna go for the solid 3, baby. Because I don't even want to be near you. I don't want to be, because you messing up everything that I built up potentially. All right. I don't even want to put myself in an area to even be tempted. One bad decision, one careless mistake. I mean, this was not a careless mistake. At this point, this was intention put behind it. But he chose a reckless route, so much so that everyone around him knew about this situation to the extent of being comfortable to talk about it on podcasts. But I get O'Shea's points about the Diddy method in terms of if you own more of what, right? Like if you're not tied to someone else's organization, you do have a lot more leg room because they can't effectively cancel you, right? Unless you do something illegal, then they throw you in jail. I get the point, but why would you even want to risk it to begin with? You want to have relationships like this? First off, be single. And second off, don't put your eggplant in women that you work with. This is manhood 101. Let's finish up.
Black men would get this, but Mel Tucker didn't get it, Ime Udoka didn't get it, and Sharon Moore didn't get it. And if you think that you're going to keep your job while sleeping with white women, and all of these guys have lost their jobs over white women, you are insane. I don't care if your preference is white women or not. Your preference needs to be keeping your damn job and stop being a damn fool. 39 years old, making $6.1 million a year. Then you're gonna lose your wife all over some cheeks. And I mean, crazy. No disrespect to the young lady Paige Shiver. I mean, she's a nice looking Caucasian lady.
No,
but
she's a solid 4.
Come on, guy.
My man lost 8 figures? 8 figures to a solid 4, baby. All right. But yeah, my argument is that if this was a black woman, a Latino woman, a Indian woman, an Asian woman, the same conclusion would have been reached. Perhaps it wouldn't have been as popular within the news cycle, but the same result would have happened.
You don't have no other level of clapping like you can get with at all. You can't. And I'm going to tell you one thing. She may get fired too, but guess who is going to be looking like the person
she may not.
The evil one? You. Guys, what do you think?
Yeah. Shout out to O'Shea. Every time I look back at O'Shea's videos, you can see the steady climb, the steady progression. And that's what we're about over here. Hashtag progress over perfection. If you ain't getting better, what is you doing, baby? Shout out to my brother O'Shea. For the life of me, I will never understand men who get married and then cheat. Like, it don't make sense to me. Like, just stay single, baby. If you know you like a lot of different women, why get married to one? Or be in a position that you've gained so much credibility or so much resources within your life that the chick is okay with a poly situation, right? But remain truthful, and for damn sure, don't pork the damn assistant. Like, what is you doing? Like, the higher that you climb, the more dangerous that one mistake becomes, the more that you have to lose. When you out here on these streets, brand new, broke, your reckless choices will not cost you as much. But when you get to this rank, this level, your success it's going to cost you absolutely everything. That's why making the right decisions, the strategic, disciplined decision, is not optional at this point. It's foundational. Discipline in all areas, eggplant discipline, emotional discipline, financial discipline, all of it. And you cannot skip any of it. Because if one is good and the other one's just messed up, you're going to find yourself fucked up. Because if you cannot control yourself, I guarantee you that the world eventually will, through consequences of your own decisions or actions. All right, guys, let me know what you think about this story. Also, too, I'm sure we're going to get some people that disagree with me in terms of kind of the magnitude of different cases like this. Write it down in the comment box down below. If we get enough comments, maybe I'll take it to the live stream and, we can go back and forth in regards to that. But I appreciate you guys for rocking with me here today. I appreciate you guys staying for the life lessons. I appreciate you guys getting active with me one more again. All right. Love you guys. Until next time. Peace.
So without further ado, MTR, cut through the BS like we in charge. No cap with the rappers like steel bars. I'm packing and rapping like here we are. Here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, share my views. Come up and I paid my dues. Big step in my black way shoes. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound with his MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR.